The New Orleans Saints walked into Buffalo with the football world expecting a blowout, but what happened stunned everyone watching. They did not just survive the night, they made the Bills sweat deep into the fourth quarter. For a team many labeled as broken after Seattle, this game felt like a statement that New Orleans is still standing, still fighting, and still finding its way. That shift alone might be the spark that changes how the season is remembered. What nobody is talking about is how close this team was to flipping the script. With just minutes left, the Saints trailed by only 9 points, the Bills restless in their own stadium, and momentum tilting toward the black and gold. It wasn't luck, it wasn't garbage time football, it was a group of players adjusting, competing, and refusing to fold. For 3.5 quarters, they matched one of the NFL's best blow for blow, and that kind of pushback can be more powerful than any scoreboard. The shocking part is what this fight revealed about identity. A team that had been called sloppy and undisciplined suddenly looked sharp, physical, and prepared. From the sideline energy to the execution on the field, it felt like a reset. But the real question is how they found that edge, and the answer lies in a blueprint that could shape every game moving forward. It starts with a ground game that finally came alive. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Saints and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 100 likes on this video. The Saints unlocked something in Buffalo that had been missing all year. Instead of leaning on empty looks and risky passes, Kellen Moore doubled down on the run game, and it worked. Alvin Kamara looked like the steady heartbeat of the offense, breaking through for tough yards and keeping drives alive. Right beside him, Kendre Miller flashed that younger burst, slashing through holes and dragging defenders with him. Together, they combined for over 135 rushing yards, a total that forced Buffalo's defense to respect the ground attack from start to finish. What made it more dangerous was the way the Saints shifted their approach. They lined up under center on nearly twice as many snaps as usual, and it gave the offense a rhythm they had been chasing for weeks. The linemen thrived off the vocal cadence, the backs hit the line of scrimmage with speed, and suddenly the Saints could dictate pace instead of reacting to it. Even a simple fullback dive or power play kept Buffalo guessing, showing a level of variety and creativity that had been missing. The key detail is that this wasn't a one-off trick, it was a glimpse of identity. New Orleans proved they can punish defenses on the ground and build their offense around that foundation. But the question now is whether their young quarterback can complement it with enough balance to stretch the field. That spotlight falls directly on Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler showed more than just flashes in this game. He showed that he is starting to understand how to control moments. The second-year quarterback used his legs with confidence, picking up key first downs and keeping drives alive when the pocket collapsed. Those scrambles weren't desperate moves, they were calculated plays that showed awareness and poise under pressure. Every time he tucked the ball, the offense gained energy, and the sideline responded to it. Still, what stands out is that his growth is unfinished. The Saints leaned heavily on the ground game, which limited Rattler's chances to take big shots downfield. Only once did he attempt a throw of more than 20 yards, and that lack of vertical pressure kept Buffalo's secondary comfortable. At times, you could sense hesitation between him and the receivers, a rhythm that has not yet clicked. Plays like the near connection with Brandon Cooks in the end zone hinted at what could come if timing sharpens. But here's where it gets intriguing. Rattler has already shown leadership at the line, changing plays with quick signals and recognizing defensive looks. That confidence suggests the breakthrough is coming, and if it does, pairing his arm with the Saints' run-first attack could finally give this offense balance. The real story is that a young quarterback is shaping into the piece that determines just how far this team can push. Next comes the defender who stole the spotlight and flipped the game's energy with a single play, Jonas Sanker. Jonas Sanker didn't just play like a rookie against Buffalo, he played like a cornerstone in the making. His interception on Josh Allen was the moment that turned heads, not only because Allen rarely makes that mistake, but because Sanker read it perfectly, closed with speed, and secured the ball like a veteran. On top of that, he broke up multiple passes in tight coverage, showing anticipation and toughness that made him look far more seasoned than a first-year safety. What made his night so impressive was the timing of those plays. One snap before his interception, he knocked a ball out at the catch point. Later, he climbed the ladder again to deny another completion. These weren't routine stops, they were high-leverage plays that shifted momentum and bought his team chances to stay alive. In a defense that has been searching for young difference-makers, Sanker brought energy and confidence that stood out immediately. The ripple effect is clear. When a third-round pick steps in and locks down part of the field, it changes the tone of the entire secondary. Teammates fed off his spark, and fans saw hope for the future. But he wasn't the only rookie defender who made his mark that night. Another young corner, Quincy Riley, proved he deserves a bigger spotlight. Quincy Riley may not have been the headline going into Buffalo, but by the time the game ended, he was one of the most talked about rookies on the field. After Isaac Yiadom gave up a costly play, the Saints coaching staff wasted no time turning to Riley, and he rewarded that trust. Targeted only once, he allowed a short completion for 11 yards and then closed the rest of the way with tight, disciplined coverage. It was the type of performance that instantly raises questions about whether he should be the starter moving forward. The bigger picture here is that Riley wasn't alone. Christian Boyd stuffed gaps against the run, Torricelli Simpkins III stepped in at guard after the Cesar Ruiz injury and held his own, and Kendre Miller continued to show why he belongs in the backfield rotation. Each rookie brought something valuable, proving this draft class is more than just depth pieces. These are players who can grow into key roles and reshape the roster in real time. That is what makes this youth movement so important. For a franchise searching for a new direction, seeing multiple rookies step up in the same game is a turning point. The promise is there, but the defense still faced challenges that Buffalo exposed, and that takes us to the adjustments and limitations that became clear. New Orleans showed they were willing to adapt against one of the most dangerous offenses in football. Instead of leaning heavily on zone looks that Josh Allen thrives against, the Saints sprinkled in more man coverage to test their corners. Kool-Aid McKinstry was more comfortable pressing receivers at the line, while veterans like Cam Jordan continued to apply steady pressure off the edge. These shifts signaled that the staff wasn't afraid to change the formula when the matchup demanded it. But even with those changes, some weaknesses stood out. Carl Granderson added another sack to his fast start, yet asking him to drop into space exposed the defense. When matched against athletic tight end Dalton Kincaid, the mismatch was obvious, and Buffalo took advantage for a touchdown. That single play underscored the lack of hybrid defenders who can both rush and cover, a gap the Saints will eventually have to address if this scheme is going to work against top-tier quarterbacks. What's encouraging is the willingness to experiment and make in-game adjustments, something that had been missing in past years. The system isn't flawless, but the commitment to flexibility gives the roster a chance to evolve. The question is whether discipline can match that effort, because one mistake shifted the entire fourth quarter. The Saints kept penalties to just 4 all game, but a roughing the kicker call on Nephi Sewell, with 5 minutes left, turned a 28-19 fight into a 31-19 climb that drained both clock and momentum. One mistake erased the ground they had gained, proving how discipline in big moments decides outcomes. With the Giants ahead and Malik Neighbors sidelined, the chance for a rebound is real, but only if New Orleans plays sharp and turns progress into a win. The New Orleans Saints step into Week 5 with a chance to turn progress into payoff. New York arrives without Malik Neighbors, which puts the spotlight on Kool-Aid, McKinstry, and Quincy Riley to control the outside and force long drives. On offense, the path is simple. Keep the tempo steady, let Alvin Kamara and Kendre Miller set the tone, and ask Spencer Rattler to strike when coverage creeps up. Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau returning to practice can expand the middle of the field, while Torricelli Simpkins III needs to steady the right guard spot with Cesar Ruiz sideline. Drop your score pick and your bold move for Sunday in the comments. If you are rolling with the fight you saw, hit subscribe for more Saints content. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.